Hi kids, my name is Aunty Regina and I'll be your virtual reader for today. Did you know that today is Read Across Jamaica Day? Yes, Read Across Jamaica Day forms a part of the activities for Education Week from May 5 to 11. The Victoria Mutual Foundation is committed to improve the lives of our children by encouraging you, our nation's children, to improve your literacy skills, inspire reading, and also to spark creativity. Do you know why reading and writing is important to do? Reading and writing helps you to learn new words and their meanings. It helps you to also know what the signs on the roads are saying in order to keep you safe. And it also provides you with the ability to become anything that you want to be. So now, let's go into the reading. The story that I'll be reading today is entitled Bird Bingo, and it was written by Jerry D. Thomas. Bird Bingo. What bird lays speckled blue eggs? Mrs. Watkins' question was barely spoken before Alex's hand was waving in the air. Bird Bingo, he said quickly. Mrs. Watkins walked toward him and bent to inspect his game card. Alex pointed to the row of 4 bird names that he had covered with 4 kernels of corn. Let's see. You have 4 kernels going right down the middle of your card. That's the cardinal, the great horned owl, the osprey, and the robin. Correct. Alex wins again. There were groans and smiles around the room as everyone dumped their corn back onto the desk and waited for the next game. Alex looked over at his friend Matt. Matt whispered, "Way to go. Now you get to pick 2 prizes from the dino jar." Matt looked at the dino jar that sat on the shelf behind Mrs. Watkins' desk. Its Tyrannosaurus shape was filled with neat stuff like whistles, keychains, cars, combos, and lots of other cool stuff. Mrs. Watkins used them to reward kids for being kind to others, for doing excellent work, and for winning classroom games. He knew what he would pick. He needed a green Tyrannosaurus eraser for his pencil. And a whistle would be just what they needed for the soccer game during recess. Mrs. Watkins began the next game. This bird is tall. It can't fly. Alex found ostrich on the left side of his card. And it lives in New Zealand. Whoops, Alex thought. It's not an ostrich. It's a kiwi. But I don't have that on my card. He noticed that Bobby, sitting in the row next to him, had placed a corn kernel on his card. He did have a kiwi. I wonder what he would get from the dino jar. Bobby was smaller than most of the kids in their class. At recess, he was usually the last person to be picked on a soccer team. I think everyone likes him, Alex thought. They just don't notice him. This is the only bird that can fly backward, Mrs. Watkins said again. Alex marked hummingbird on his card, but he didn't get to mark many others. This time, Mrs. Watkins described birds that weren't on his card. He noticed that Bobby had many of them and was close to winning. Bobby's feet kind of danced around as he sat there ready for the next clue. Alex smiled. He knew just how it felt to need only one more bird to win. But the next bird was a bald eagle, and Shayna's hand flew up as she said, "Bird Bingo." This will be our last game, Mrs. Watkins announced. When everyone's corn was back on their desks and they were ready to begin, "It's almost time for recess," Miss Watkins said. "This time, I'm winning," Matt whispered to Alex. "I hope so," Alex whispered back. Bobby looked over at both of them and smiled, but he didn't say anything. This bird imitates the songs of many other birds. Mrs. Watkins read from her card. Alex quickly covered mockingbird with a kernel and saw that Bobby did too. This bird gets its pink color from the shellfish that it eats. Alex covered flamingo. As the game went on, he got closer and closer to winning again. He could see that Matt's card still was nearly empty, But Bobby was filling up fast. This duck often makes its nest in a hollow tree. Wood duck on Alex's card was quickly covered. Now he only needed one more to win. What else would I get from the dino jar? He asked himself. I know. I saw a keyring in there last week that looks like a silver soccer ball. This large bird can soar for hours over the ocean without flapping its wings. Albatross, Alex thought, but it wasn't on his card. It must be on Bobby's though. He could see that Bobby's feet were dancing again. He must be getting close to winning. The bird spends most of his time on the ground and says its own name. Everyone in the room looked for the same name on their cards. Bob White Quail. It was on Alex's card. I win, he said to himself. But before his hand went up, he glanced over at Bobby's card. Just one more and he could win, Alex realized. Alex's hand started up, but still looking at Bobby. He thought. He sure would be happy if he won a game. I wonder what he would. Then Mrs. Watkins spoke again. This bird is related to the dove. It likes people and buildings and is often found in cities and in parks. As Alice watched, Bobby's hand shot up. Bird bingo, he shouted. As Mrs. Watkins checked his feet, danced some more, Bobby wins, she announced. You may line up to go out for recess. Alex looked at Bobby. He had the biggest smile Alex had ever seen on his face. And Alex realized that his own smile was pretty big too. You played well today, Alex, Miss Watkins said as she walked by his desk. You know your birds. And she stopped and stared at Alex's card. Why, Alex, you... Alex looked at Bobby, who was up staring into the dino jar. Mrs. Watkins followed his look. You should have won again. She looked at Alex for another second, then said, All right, class, you are dismissed. Mr. Harkins is waiting for you on the playground. Alex, please come up to my desk. Matt looked at Alex from across the room. What happened? He mouthed without saying the words. Alex just shrugged his shoulders. He didn't know what Mrs. Watkins wanted. Was he in trouble for not saying he won? He walked slowly up to her desk. Mrs. Watkins looked stern sitting behind her desk. All right, Alex. Why don't you tell me what happened? Why didn't you raise your hand when you won the game? Alex explained just what happened. I could see Bobby's and Matt's cards from my desk. I knew it wasn't any of my business to look, but I did. I knew that Bobby only needed one more when Shayna won. When I won again, I could see that he only needed one more again. So you didn't raise your hand? Well, I almost did. But then I thought about Bobby. And you know, he doesn't always do so well in soccer or baseball or anything. And Mrs. Watkins interrupted. And you thought it would be nice if he could win, if he could do something well for a change. Alex nodded. But I just barely had time to think about it when you called the next bird. And he did win. He watched to see if she was angry at him. I promise not to do it again. Alex, Mrs. Watkins said, that was one of the nicest things I've ever seen anyone do. I'm very impressed that you would be so thoughtful and unselfish. Alex's face broke into a big smile. And I know your parents will be impressed too when I tell them. Alex's smile got even bigger. Mrs. Watkins' smile was pretty big too. I'm very happy that you are in my class, Alex. Now, you'd better hurry out or you're going to miss the soccer game. As he dashed out of the field, Alex said to himself, I never knew losing a game could make you feel so good. The end. This has taught you that sometimes it is good to just put others in front of yourselves. It helps to make other person feel good when you are unselfish. Now, kids, it's your turn to write and read your own story. The VM Foundation invites you to record a 4-minute video of yourself reading your own stories. There's no theme restriction, so you can be as creative as you want to be. There are many cash prizes in store for you. For more details, you can check out the Just Right pictures on our Instagram and Facebook pages and see the details underneath. Now, kids, go ahead and start writing today. And thank you for joining me, Aunty Regina, your virtual reader. Have a good day.